friends, welcome to our YouTube channel Knowledge Academy. The main aim of this lecture is to discuss about the UPSC Civil Service Examinations, Signal and Systems, previous year questions in a very detailed manner. If you like the content of our channel, then please do like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon button. So whenever we upload a new video, the direct notifications comes on mobile. If any improvements needed in our video lectures, then please do comment in the comment section. We will definitely include all those improvements in the coming lectures. So why to waste more time? So let's get started. So now you are going to solve the first question. See the question here. The double integration of a unit step function will result. So the double integration of a unit step function will result. Option A is a unit step function. Option B the ramp function. Option C impulse. Option D parabola. So out of the four options, option D parabola is the correct solution of this question. So the double integration of a unit step function will result in a parabola. So let's solve this numerical. Ramp signal, and the double integration of any unit step signal is nothing but we have to do the integration of this ramp signal is equal to the parabolic signal. So the integration of a unit step signal is always going to give a ramp signal, and the double integration of any unit step signal we are going to get a parabolic signal. See, this is the standard formulas which are given in the signal and system course, which are the unit step signal is the integration of the impulse signal, and the ramp signal is called as the unit ramp signal is the integration of the unit step signal, and the parabolic signal is the integration of the ramp signal. Similarly, the vice versa, if one is the integration of the other, so therefore this is the differentiation of this other signal. If one is the integration of the other signal, then this signal will be differentiation of this signal. It's same vice versa. So therefore delta of t is the impulse signal is the differentiation of the unit step signal, and u of t is the differentiation of the ramp signal, and r of t is the differentiation of the parabolic signals. So these are the important signals which are discussed in the signal and system in a very detailed manner. So this is a u of t, this is a unit step signal waveform, and if you do the integration of this unit step signal, we are going to get this ramp signal, and if you do the integration of this ramp signal, we are going to get the parabolic signal. So integration of r of t is nothing but double integration of the u of t is going to give us the parabolic signal. So this is all about this question. So now we are going to solve the second question. See the question here. So what is the average value of the waveform x of t is equal to 4 cos 4t minus 5 sin 5t. So we need to find what is the average value of the signal x of t is equal to 4 cos 4t minus 5 sin 5t. So what are the four options? Option A is the correct solution of this question. So let's solve this numerical. So the signal x of t is equal to 4 cos 4t minus 5 sin 5t. So for this signal we need to find what is the average value. So by default cos signal and the sin signal always average value is 0. So therefore the total value has to be 0. This is a very shortcut way. But if you want to do the standard procedure, the standard procedure is here. This x of t is a combination of the two signals, which are the cos signal and the sin signal. So this is nothing but cos omega t. So let me assume this is omega 1. So omega 1 is equal to 4. So omega 1 is nothing but 2 pi by t1 is equal to 4. But I want t1. T1 is the time period. The fundamental time period of the cos 4t function is t1 is equal to 2 pi by 4. So this is the fundamental period, the fundamental time period of the cos 4t. And similarly, I want to find what is the fundamental time period of this sin 5t also, which is sin omega t. So therefore, let me assume omega 2 is equal to 5. And omega 2 is nothing but 2 pi by t2 is equal to 5, and t2 is equal to 2 pi by 5. This is the fundamental time period of the sin 5t. So now these are the time period of the first signal and the time period of the second signal. So when we are going to do the addition to the subtraction of the two different signals, the x of t is going to form. For this x of t, we need to find what is the time period. In order to do that one, always we need to do the ratio of the first time period by the second time period. So therefore, t1 by t2 is equal to, so t1 is 2 pi by 4 by t2 is equal to 2 pi by 5. So if you do the ratio, we are going to get 5 by 4. So always remember one thing, if you do the ratio of time periods of t1 by t2, if we got a rational number, then that signal is said to be a periodic signal. So therefore this x of t as a t1 by t2 is equal to 5 by 4, it is a rational number. So therefore this x of t signal is also periodic signal. So cos 4t is a periodic signal, sin 5t is also periodic signal, and the combination of these two signals is also a periodic signal. So if this is a rational number, then only that signal is said to be a periodic signal. If it is a irrational number, then that signal is said to be a non-periodic signal or aperiodic signal. So therefore now I want to find what is the time period, the fundamental time period of the signal x of t. So in order to find this one, so we need to do here, we got the value t1 by tt is equal to 5 by 4. So now we need to do the cross multiplication. So therefore this 4 goes to this side and 5 goes to this side. So therefore 4t1 is equal to 5t2. So 4t1 is equal to 5t2. So therefore let me assume this equal is equal to t. So t is the fundamental time period of the x of t. So 4 into t1 is nothing but we know 2 by 4. So if you solve this one, we are going to get t. The fundamental time period of the x of t signal is 2 pi. So we know the period of this signal. So now we need to find what is the average. So average, the standard definition is x average is equal to 1 by time period integration over the time period into x of t into dt. So the time period is 1 by t is nothing but 2 pi. Integration of t is equal to 0 to 2 pi. Here x of t value which we know, which is 4 cos 4t minus 5 sin 5t into dt. So now here 1 by 2 pi. Now we are going to do the integration of this one. So 4 into integration of cos 4t is nothing but sin 4t by 4. And similarly now integration of sin 5t is nothing but minus cos 5t by 5. So minus will become positive. So therefore this 4 get cancels and 5 get cancels. So now I am going to substitute t is equal to 2 pi and t is equal to 0. So therefore 1 by 2 pi sine of, now I am going to substitute 2 pi. So therefore 4 into 2 pi is nothing but 8 pi, and similarly 5 into 2 pi is nothing but 10 pi, minus of, now I am going to substitute t is equal to 0. So therefore 4 into 0 is nothing but 0. Again 5 into 0 is nothing but 0. So therefore this is value. So always sin 8 pi value is again 0 and cos 10 pi value is again 1, and sin 0 is 0, cos 0 is 1. So if you do simplification, this one and this one get cancels. So therefore the final, the x average value means the average value of the function is 0. So here sin n pi is always 0. N is nothing but integers. Integers means 0 plus or minus 1 plus or minus 2. So therefore cos n pi is equal to minus 1 over to the power of n. So n is again integers. N is equal to 0 plus or minus 1 plus or minus 2 and plus or minus 3. So for integers, sin n pi is equal to 0, cos n pi is equal to minus 1 over to the power of n. So if you see here sin 8 pi, so n is equal to 8. 8 means sin 8 pi is equal to 0. That is why it is 0. Cos pi, so here n is equal to 10. So minus 1 over to the power of 10 is again 1. So therefore that is the result, it is 1. So finally the x average is equal to 0. The shortcut way to remember is the average value of the cos function and sin function are 0. So therefore blindly by shortcut we can say it as a x average is equal to 0. But if you want to know the standard procedure, this is the standard procedure. First we need to find what is the time period of the signal based on the two signals time period, and then we need to find what is the average value by this definition. Now we are going to solve the third question. See the question here. Let x of t is equal to 1 minus 2t, then what is the value of the integration minus to plus infinity x of t into delta to the power delta into t plus 1 into dt, but delta of t plus 1 is a unit impulse at t is equal to minus 1. So what are the four options? Option C, 3 is the correct solution of this question. So let's solve this numerical. So here the question they have given the x of t is equal to 1 minus 2t, and we need to find what is the integration of t is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity x of t into delta of t plus 1. We need to find this value. See here, let me assume this is the x of t signal. So x of t signal as a, let me assume the waveform of this x of t signal is in this fashion. So here they are given delta of t plus 1 means this have a impulse of unit area. Impulse of unit area 1, unit area it is 1. So at t is equal to minus 1. At t is equal to minus 1, this impulse is going to exist with the area of 1. So if you multiply these two signals, if you multiply the x of t and delta of t plus 1, so only at t is equal to minus 1 instant, and only at t is equal to minus 1 instant, so it is going to take this value. This is called as this value is nothing but x of minus 1. So only this value is going to take, and remaining everything is 0, because delta of t is not going to exist at anywhere except at minus 1. So therefore all this value will be 0. So finally all this value will be 0. All this value will be 0 of product of x of t and delta of t plus 1, but only non-zero magnitude area of at minus 1 the area of this signal is x of minus 1. So it is also an impulse. So if you do the product, this is also an impulse. At minus 1 the impulse area is x of minus 1. So here simply if you do the product of these two signals, we are going to get here x of minus 1 into delta of t minus delta of t plus 1. This is the, if you the product of these two signals, we are going to get this value x of minus 1 with the delta of t plus 1. So now we are going to the integration and t is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. So this is nothing but a coefficient value, it's a constant value. So therefore I can take the integration inside also. T is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. So therefore this is the value. So now t is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity, delta of t plus 1 is nothing but 1, because if I do the integration from minus infinity to plus infinity, the signal is going to exist at only minus 1. So therefore the area of the signal is unity. So therefore this is value is 1. So therefore x of minus 1 into 1 is nothing but x of minus 1. So now in place of t, we need in place of x of t, so in the place of t we have to substitute minus 1. So therefore 1 minus 2 into minus 1 is nothing but 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. So therefore now if you the integration of this value is nothing but 3. So now you are going to solve the fourth question. See the question here. A function f of dot is linear under the conditions. So we need to find what are the conditions in order to be the function to be linear. So what are the four options? Option C is the correct solution of this question. So f of x1 plus x2 is equal to f of x1 plus f of x2, and f of kx is equal to k into f of x. Means here the function has to satisfy the two properties, which are the superposition property and the homogeneity property. So if the two conditions are satisfied, then only we can say that function is said to be linear. If any one condition, if it fails, we are going to say it is not a linear function, it is a non-linearity. So let's discuss something more facts about this one. So linearity is nothing but, in order to be a linearity, the function has to, the system has to satisfy the superposition principle and the homogeneity principle. If these two are satisfied, then only we are going to say that system is a linearity system. So here let me assume a system. See for the, let me assume a system. For this system, if the input is x1 and the output is y1, so y1 is nothing but f of x1. So for the same system, if the input is x2, then the output is y2, which is nothing but f of x2. So for the same system, if the input is x3 and the output is y3, which is f of x3. See here, if x3 is the sum of the two previous inputs, if x3 is the sum of the two previous inputs, the output which you are going to get has to be the outputs, the summation of the outputs of the two previous outputs. So the y3 is nothing but it is summation of the two previous outputs. So therefore y3 is equal to y1 plus y2. If input is the addition of the two previous inputs, the output has to be the same thing, which is the output of the two previous inputs. So y1 is the output of x1 and y2 is the output of x2. So therefore y3 is equal to y1 plus y2. So y1 we all know, which is f of x1, and y2 is f of x2. And similarly y3 is nothing but f of x3. F of x3 is equal to f of x1 plus x2. But x3 is, we know, which is x1 plus x2. So therefore f of x1 plus x2 is equal to f of x1 plus f of x2. Means simply what I am trying to say is, if for the system, if the input is the summation of the two previous inputs, then the output which we are going to get is also the summation of the two previous outputs. That is the meaning of the superposition principle. And here now let me discuss about the homogeneity principle. So for the system, if x1 is the input and the output is y1, which is y1 is equal to f of x1. Suppose if the input x2 and the output is y2 is equal to f of x2. Let me assume this new output is the scalar multiple of the previous input. Means we are going to multiply scalar k. If you multiply the scalar value to the previous input, the output which you are going to get must be a same scalar multiple. Means the new output must be the scalar multiple of the previous output. So therefore y2 has to be equal to the scalar multiple of the previous output. So y2 is nothing but f of x2 is equal to k into y1 is f of x1. So x2 is nothing but k into x1. So f of k x1 is equal to k into f of x1. So this is called as a homogeneity principle. So simply what I am trying to say is, if you multiply, if the input is a scalar multiple of the previous input, then the output which you are going to get has to be the same scalar multiple of the previous output. So that is the meaning of this So homogeneity principle. Suppose if k is 0, if k is 0 means it has to be x2 is equal to 0. So therefore the output is also is equal to 0, because here k is 0 means x2 is equal to 0, and if k is 0 means the y2 is equal to 0. So therefore if the input is 0, the output is also 0. Then only the system is said to be a linear system. So for linear system, if the input is 0, the output of system also has to be 0. Then only the system is going to satisfy the homogeneity principle. So we are going to say it as a linear system. So now what I am going to do is, this is called as a superposition principle and this is called as a homogeneity principle. Now I am going to make these two in a together format. The format is f of a. A is nothing but scalar. A into x1 plus b into x2 is equal to a into f of x1 plus b into f of x2. This is the true meaning of the linearity. So this equation is going to consist of two properties, which are the superposition property and also homogeneity property. So it's a combination of the two principles, homogeneity property and also the superposition principle. So this is going to say it as a linearity. So if any system is going to satisfy this property, then the system is said to be a linear system. So f of ax1 plus bx2 is equal to a into f of x1 plus b into f of x2. This is the true meaning of the linearity. So if two conditions are truly satisfied, then only we are going to say it as a linear system. So now we are going to solve the fifth question. See the question here. Which one of the following is a linear system? So out of the four options, option A is said to be a linear system. So let's discuss something more facts about this one. These are the options which are given in the question. From these options, we have to find which system is a linear system. I already told you in the previous question, when the input is 0, the output has to be 0. Then that system is said to be a linear system. So if you see carefully here, for the option B, if the input u of t is 0, then the output we are going to get a non-zero value. So therefore, this is not a linear system. Here also, if u of t is 0, then we are going to get here y of t is equal to 5. It is also non-zero value. So that this is also not a linear system. So from these two options, we need to check whether which system is a linear system. So we need to check out of option A and option C. So let me take the option A, which is y of t is equal to t into u of t. So here, if the input is u1, for this system, the output is y1 is equal to 2u1. If the input is u2, for this system, the output is y2 is equal to 2u2. For the same system, if the input is u3, then the output y3 is 2u3. So therefore, now this u3 I am going to take as a summation of the two previous inputs. So u3 is equal to summation of the two previous inputs. So therefore, the output y3 has to be the summation of the two previous outputs. So for u1 the output is y1, and for u2 the output is y2. But y3 we all know just 2u3. So 2u3 is equal to, so the output of this one has to be equal to the summation of the two previous outputs, which is 2u1 plus 2u2. So u3 is nothing but u1 plus u2. So u1 plus u2. So if you solve this one, we are going to get the equate. So this two LHS is equal to RHS. So therefore, the output, when the input is a summation of the two previous inputs, we are going to get the output which is a summation of the two previous outputs. So therefore, this system is a linear system. So option A is the correct. So let us take the option C also. So for the option C, y of t is equal to u square t. So let me take here, the input is the summation of the two previous inputs. So therefore, the output is also summation of the two previous outputs. So y3 is nothing but 2u3 square. Here y1 is nothing but 2u1 square plus 2u2 square. So here this is nothing but this is, so if you take here u3 is nothing but u1 plus u2 whole square is not equal to 2u1 plus 2u2, because a plus b whole square is not equal to here a square plus b square, because a plus b whole square is equal to a square plus b square plus 2ab. So therefore the other term is missing in this equation. So therefore for this option, here if you take the input as the summation of the two previous inputs, the output is not the summation of the two previous outputs. So therefore we can conclude that this is a non-linear system. So finally, if there is any constant or any square or any cube or any nth power is going to present in any equation, then that system is said to be blindly non-linear system. So if you see carefully here, there is a square. So therefore this is not a linear system. Here also there is square. So it is also not a linear system. Here there is no square or no power, but there is a constant. So therefore this is also not a linear system. So therefore we can conclude that option is the correct solution of this question. So now we are going to solve the sixth question. See the question here. Consider the signals x1 of t is equal to 2 sin pi t plus cos 4 pi t, and x2 of t is equal to sin 5 pi t plus 3 sin 13 pi t. So from these options, what we are going to tell is, so we need to find whether the signals are periodic or aperiodic signals. So all the four options, option A, both the signals are periodic. This is the solution of this question. So let's solve this numerical. So In the question, they are given two signals. This is x1 of t and this is x2 of t. So now we need to find whether these signals are periodic or aperiodic. We need to figure out. So I have told you in the previous question itself, the standard procedure is here cos sin omega t and cos omega t. So let me assume the omega 1 is equal to pi and omega 2 is equal to 4 pi. So omega is nothing but 2 pi by t1 is equal to pi. So now the fundamental time period of this sin pi t is nothing but 2. So 2 is the fundamental time period of the sin pi t. So similarly we need to find what is the fundamental time period of this cos 4 pi t. So omega 2 is equal to 4 pi. Omega is nothing but 2 pi by t2 is equal to 4 pi. So therefore t2 is equal to half. So therefore t2 is equal to half is the fundamental time period of this cos 4 pi t. So now we are going to the algebraic or linear combination of these two signals, then we are going to get the new signal which is x1 of t. So now we need to find the sin pi t and the cos 4 pi t are the periodic signals, but now we need to find whether this x1 of t is a periodic signal or a aperiodic signal. We need to find. I have already told you when t1 and t2 you got it, you have to do the division. So ratio t1 by t2. So 2 by 1 by 2 we are got a rational number. Rational number means any number which is in the form of p by q. So p and q are purely integers. So if any number is in the form of p by q, then that is said to be a rational number. So if you see here 4 is a rational number, means 4 by 1 is a 4. So therefore if any t1 by t2 is equal to, if you are going to get a rational number, then that signal is said to be a purely periodic signal. Otherwise it is a periodic signal. So here we are going to get a period. In this we got a rational number. So therefore this x1 of t is called as a periodic signal. But now I am going to do something extra analysis in order to find what is the time period of this x of t. So x1 of t. So here time period is equal to, now we have to take the cross multiplication. So 4 by 1 is nothing but this 1 I am going to take here and this 4 I am going to take here. So therefore 1 into t1 is equal to 4 into t2, cross multiplication. So therefore t1 is equal to 42. Let me assume this is a t. T is called as the fundamental time period of the x1 of t. So therefore so t1 is nothing but 2, and if you substitute here 4 into t2 is nothing but again 1 by 2. So therefore you are going to get here also 2. So therefore the time period, the fundamental time period of the x1 of t is 2 seconds. So now for the signal x2 of t, this is a signal x2 of t, same procedure we need to figure out. So here omega 1 is equal to 5 pi and omega 2 is equal to 13 pi. So omega 1 is 2 pi by t1 is equal to 5 pi. So now if you substitute t1, if you want to solve t1 we are going to get 2 by 5. So therefore 2 by 5 is the fundamental time period of the x2 of t. Of t1 is equal to 2 by 5. 2 by 5 is the fundamental time period of the sin 5 pi t. So similarly now we have to find what is the fundamental time period of the sin 13 pi t. So therefore omega 2 is equal to 13 pi, 2 pi by t2 is equal to 13 pi. So t2 is equal to 2 by 13. So this is the fundamental time period of the sin 13 pi t. So now we have to find the ratio of these two signals. So now we need to find what is the ratio of the t1 by t2. So t1 we know which is 2 by 5, t2 is 2 by 13. If you do the ratio, we are going to get 13 by 5. It is also in the form of p by q form. So we are going to say it is also a rational number. So whenever the ratio of the two time periods are in the form of rational number, then that signal is said to be a periodic signal. Otherwise it is a aperiodic signal. So therefore x2 of t is also a periodic signal. So now I want to find what is the time period of this x2 of t. So now I need to do the cross multiplication. 5 into t1 is equal to 13 into t2. So this is the time period of the x2 of t, which is a fundamental time period. So therefore t is equal to, so now we substitute t1 is nothing but 2 by 5. 2 by 5 into 5 is again 2. So therefore for this x2 of t is also time period is same one, which is 2. So finally we can conclude that these two signals are periodic and also that their time period is also same, which is 2. The fundamental time period of these two signals is also same. So finally we can conclude that these two signals are the periodic signals and also they have the same time period. Now we are going to solve the seventh question. See the question here. Two functions f1 of t with the power of 3 and f2 of t with the power of 5 have a correlation of 5 between them. So then what is the power of f1 of t plus f2 of t? So in the question they have given a f1 of t has a power of 3 and f2 of t has a power of 5, and the correlation between these two signals have value of 5. So now we need to find what is the power of the f1 of t and f2 of t. The summation of f1 of t and f2 of t we need to figure out. So what are the four options? Option B, 8 is the correct solution of this question. So let's solve this numerical. Now here For any signal f of t, we need to find what is the energy and the power expression. So the energy is integration t is equal to minus f2 plus infinity f of t whole square dt. So this is the expression for the energy of any signal. Suppose if the signal is a real signal, then we have to use this one. Suppose if the signal is a complex signal, then we are going to use the magnitude here. So here we are going to use the magnitude. But if you are using the real signals, we can use here just bracket. So similarly here, the power is equal to limit t tends to infinity 1 by 2t integration of minus t to plus t f of t whole square dt. Here also the power for real signal, this is the expression, but if you want to go for the complex signals, just we need to here use here magnitude. So for the complex signals we have to use the magnitude, for real signals we can use the bracket. So therefore here, now in the question they are given the f of t is a summation of the two signals f1 of t and f2 of t. So in the given, they given the correlation. Correlation is nothing but here we need the product of the two signals with the same power equation. Same power equation, we have to use the product of the two signals. So therefore limit u tends to infinity 1 by 2t integration of minus t to t f1 of t f2 of t dt is called as a correlation. This is called as a correlation of the f1 of t and the f2 of t. So this is called phi. In the question they are given this value is phi. And they also given the power in f1 of t, the expression of the power in f1 of t, this is the expression of the power in f of t is equal to 3, they given the question. And similarly the power in f2 of t signal, the power expression, so f2 of t whole square, so for this expression the value is 5, now they are given. So now we need to find what is the power in the f of t. So power in f of t, same expression here, but f of t. But f of t we know which is f1 of t plus f2 of t. So therefore I am going to substitute here in place of f of t, f1 of t plus f2 of t whole square with the value of dt. So this is nothing but a plus b whole square. So a square b square plus 2ab. So this limit. So everything, this value we need to do inside here. So a square plus b square plus 2ab. So this value is nothing but the power in the signal f1 of t, which is 3. And similarly this expression is called as the power in the signal f2 of t, the value is 5. But here 2 times this expression is called as the correlation of the signal f1 of t and f2 of t. So therefore 2 into 5. So 5 plus 3 is nothing but 8. 8 plus 10 is called as 18. So therefore this is the power in the signal f of t, which is a summation of the f1 of t plus f2 of t. So this is the standard procedure. By this procedure we are going to solve this numerical. So always write the expression of the power and here elongate this one. Then we are going to get for each and value which is already given in the question. So by substituting those values we can easily find the question. So now we are going to solve the 8th question. See the question here. What is the total energy of the rectangular pulse shown in the figure below? So for this rectangular pulse we need to find what is the total energy. So out of the 4 options, option B, which is a square t, is the correct solution of this question. So let's solve this numerical. So this is a signal which is given in the question. For this signal we need to find what is the amount of energy it is going to carry by this signal. So the basic expression of the energy is here integration t is equal to minus into plus infinity x square of t dt. So we need to find this value, then we are going to get the energy. So basically here the signal is going to exist from only t is equal to minus t by 2 to t is equal to t by 2. So only in this t period, only in this time duration the signal has a non-zero value, and remaining all time it is going to have a 0. So therefore simply this integration is going to have simplification from minus t by 2 to t by 2, and this x of t has a value of magnitude of a. So therefore we need to do the square. So therefore a square dt. So a square is nothing but this is the amplitude, it's a very constant. So therefore a square is going to get outside. So integration of 1 dt is nothing but t. So this is a t integration. So now we need to substitute the limits minus t by 2 to plus t by 2. So a square we are going to get here. So in place of t, the upper limit t by 2 minus of the lower limit minus t by 2. So if you substitute here a square into t by 2, now we are going to get here plus minus plus. So we are going to get t. So therefore a square into t. So finally the area of this signal means here the energy of this signal is nothing but a square times t. So this is the final solution of this question. Now we are going to solve the 9th question. See the question here. So what is the period of the function? They are given a function f of t. For this function we need to find what is the period, time period. So out of the 4 options, option A 8 seconds is the correct solution of this question, and this question is given in the UPSC or Civil Service Examination in 2007. So let's solve this numerical. So this is the function f of t. F of t is equal to cos of pi into t minus 1 by 4. So now what I am going to do is I am going to multiply this pi by 4. So pi by 4 inside. So therefore here cos of pi t by 4 minus pi by 4. The basic standard expression is cos of omega t minus 5. So here omega is equal to pi by 4. Omega is equal to pi by 4. So omega is called as the angular frequency. So angular frequency basic formula is 2 pi by t. T is called as a fundamental time period. So 2 pi by t is equal to pi by 4. So therefore t is equal to 8. If you solve this equation, we are going to get t is equal to 8. So this is the fundamental time period of this signal f of t. So time period is 8 seconds. This is the correct solution of this question. So now we are going to solve the 10th question. See the question here. If a signal f of t has an energy E, then what is the energy of the signal f of 2t? So for f of t, the energy of the signal f of t has E, then what is the energy of the signal f of 2t? We need to figure out. So what are the four options? Option B, which is E by 2, is the correct solution of this question. So let's solve this numerical. So here the standard formula is here. For the signal f of t, if the energy is E, then for the signal f of at, for this signal the energy will be E by A. So at is called as a scaling. So if you are compressing the signal, means A is greater than 1. So therefore E by A is nothing but lesser than E. So therefore if you are compressing the signal, the energy in the signal is going to decrease, and if you elongate the signal, the energy in the signal is going to increase. So this is a shortcut way to remember here. So now let us discuss the standard procedure by solving this numerical. See, for the f of t signal, the energy is E. This is the energy standard formula, which is E is equal to integration t is equal to minus infinity plus infinity f of t whole square dt. This is the, for the f of t, the energy is E. So now for the f of 2t, we need to find what is the energy. So let me assume for f of 2t, the energy is E1. So this is the expression for the f of 2t signal, the energy is E1. So let me assume 2t is equal to x. So therefore now I am going to the differentiation. 2dt is equal to dx. So therefore dt is equal to dx by 2. Now I am going to substitute 2t is equal to x and dt is equal to dx by 2 in this expression. So therefore energy E1 is equal to, see here, when t is equal to minus infinity, when t is equal to minus infinity, 2 into minus infinity is again nearly minus infinity. So therefore x is equal to minus infinity. Suppose if you are substituting t is equal to plus infinity, if you substitute t is equal to plus infinity, 2 into plus infinity is again plus infinity. So therefore plus infinity. So x is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity here. So 2t is nothing but x. So f of x whole square dt is dx by 2. So now I am going to take this 2, it's a constant term. So 1 by 2 is a constant. So I am going to take it here outward of the integration. So therefore E1 is equal to 1 by 2 integration x is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity f square x dx. This is nothing but energy of the signal f of x or f of t. So just t is going to change. This is t is called as a variable. So we can replace this t by x or p any value. So therefore this is nothing but energy. So therefore this is the energy E. So E1 is equal to E by 2. So therefore this is the required solutions. Means if for f of t, if the energy is E, then f of at, the energy is E by A. So here A is equal to 2. So therefore here E by 2. Means here this is nothing but time scaling, means we are going to compress the signal. So if you are compressing the signal, the energy we are going to get decrease. But if you elongate the signal, means suppose it is 1 by 2. So therefore here it is going to get 1 by 2. So therefore you are going to get 2e. Means the energy of the signal is going to increase. So if you compress the signal, the energy decreases, and if you elongate the signal, the energy increases. Because here the energy is also depending upon the time. So if time is increases, the energy is increases. If the time decreases, the energy also decreases. So energy is blindly depending upon the time period also. So by this lecture we have successfully completed the 10 questions which are the previous year prelims questions of the UPSC civil service examinations in a very detailed manner of the signal and system. So if you like the content of the channel, then please do like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon button. So whenever you upload a new video, the direct notifications comes to mobile. If any improvements needed in our lectures, then please do comment in the comment section. We will definitely include all those improvements in the coming lectures. Thank you so much for watching this lecture. Keep smiling, take care and bye bye.